Garland police arrested a 14-year-old suspect for shooting 4 teenagers, killing 3 of them at a gas station. Police released surveillance video, but I do want to warn you, it is rather intense. So this is a video of the teen opening fire inside the Texaco station. This is on Walnut Lane in Garland. Police say at least 20 shots were fired. All of the victims were teenagers.
Garland, Texas, Thursday, December 2021, 700 block of Walnut Street at a local Texaco convenience store. A group of teenage boys, 17-year-old Rafael Garcia, 16-year-old Ivan Naola, and 14-year-old Xavier Gonzalez would be seen on surveillance cameras, seemingly waiting for an order at what looks like a small taqueria inside the Texaco gas station. What they didn't know was that there was a Ford white pickup truck just outside carrying a 13-year-old shirtless passenger that was there to retaliate for issues with 2 of the teen boys. The third victim, Xavier Gonzalez, who I believe is this young man sitting down, had nothing to do with this incident involving Acosta, Rafael, and Ivan. Just an innocent bystander caught up in something that would change his and 2 other families forever in only 10 seconds. It's not known how many rounds were fired as Acosta entered the store and began shooting, hitting both Garcia and Naola as a bullet can be seen striking a beverage on the table countertop Garcia was sitting at. Garcia then begins to use a chair, it looks as if to shield himself, once Acosta comes into the frame, impulsively firing at Gonzalez indiscriminately 10 shots, which would ultimately be what ended his life. Rafael Garcia falls to the ground and crawls to what looks like a partition where the restrooms might be located on the other side, and then you see Ivan Naola, who is already gravely injured, struggle and stagger his way through the convenience store in an attempt to escape the gunfire.
There's more information tonight about ongoing conflict prior to a shooting at a Garland gas station last week that left 3 teenagers dead.
Newly released police documents talk about threats made and gunfire weeks before the shooting, and police are still looking for the 14-year-old they say committed the murders.
A day after the shooting, the father of the suspect would turn himself in. His defense was him and Abel were there only to get some medication for his wife, and he had no idea what his son's intentions were until he heard the gunshots. But when you watch the footage, his truck is parked in almost getaway position. He's not at a gas pump or even in any parking spaces, and his son is shirtless. But you're innocent until proven guilty. It's been said that after the murders, Richard tried to move his family out of Garland. The Acosta family also is said to have been very uncooperative with law enforcement, and immediately after, Abel Acosta just vanished. After turning himself in, Richard Acosta would be charged with capital murder. He would be indicted in February of 2022, and as I said, his lawyer would use the defense that his client had no prior knowledge of the events that would lead to 3 deaths and 1 person wounded, but prosecutors would argue that Richard Acosta not only knew what would transpire the night of December 26th, but he also helped dispose of evidence and tried to move his family out of Garland. In my honest opinion, he knew it would have been a manhunt, so he sacrificed himself for his son. District Attorney John Cruzat, who was very tough on gun violence, in closing arguments would state that a reasonable person would not have sped away from the scene. On February 11, 2023, after a 3-hour deliberation, Richard Acosta would be convicted of capital murder and sentenced to life in prison. It was said he showed no emotion upon hearing his verdict of guilty. At this present time, 2024, no one knows where Abel Acosta is or how a now 15-year-old boy would be able to evade authorities so convincingly. It's believed by detectives that the family, including his mother, know his whereabouts. Detective Lucas Shoup, who was over the case, had this to say: "I don't believe a mom has no idea where her now 15-year-old son is. I think she knows where he is," Shoup said, "and I think she had knowledge about how they got him there as well." It is thought that Abel Acosta Acosta is now out of the country thanks to cell phone records, and even with tips pouring into the offices, he is still on the run. The authorities are now using data mining technology, a very complex network of tools such as link analysis and geometric clustering to track down Acosta. It's so complicated to explain how it works, it would take me 30 minutes to really break it down, but that's what they're left with, and I feel like it would take a lot more than Garland PD to locate this kid, but I don't think they're really going to give us any hints to all the resources they're using to capture Acosta, a teenage boy who is not even on the top 10 fugitive list, maybe because he's a kid, I don't know. Anyway, I'm very consumed by this case, so I'll be keeping up to date with it. Just a little brief rundown, like and subscribe, leave a comment.